guys, welcome to my how to become Velvet Velour. First you want to start off with a Nars Radiant Creamy Concealer in a very light shade. I use Chantilly and I'm just contouring out the highlights on my face. And I'm going to blend it out with this sponge. And while I blend it out, you really don't see a difference on camera. But there actually was a significant difference in person, and I even added a bit more concealer right after this. Using a reference photo of Velvet Velour, I was able to see where she was highlighted. So it was like different parts of the forehead, right under the eyes, and especially the chin. And I blended that out. Then I used the Smashbox Full Exposure palette and used the shades Matte 5 and Matte 6 to contour out. Slimmed out my nose. Then I dipped into a shimmer 4 in the same palette to set the concealer. Urban Decay's Subversion Lash Primer as a glue for my eyebrows to set them because I wanted to cover them with the same concealer. I just blended it out. And then I took Makeup Forever's Pro Finish Powder in the number 117. It's a little yellow on camera, but it's not that big of a deal because I'm just going to add more concealer and set it with a sponge, and then I'm going to let it dry. I'm going to continue to contour out my face, kind of exaggerate certain features. Buffing it out, I used Hoola bronzer from Benefit to darken those shadows, concealing a bit more because those shadows really darkened the face, and all I was doing was structuring out the face. I just kind of went around the jawline a little bit, set it with a little bit more shimmer, using Urban Decay's Primer Potion in the original color, and I added a bit of a lip shadow, more contouring of the nose, and buffing everything out. Adding another layer of concealer to my eyebrows, and then I set it again, and voila! Now I wanted to cover them so that I could really create a mega super arch because she has an incredible arch. It's hard to tell because of her hair is covering some of her eyebrows, but I figured it was a fairly high arch. Really sexy eyebrows. And not my crazy looking eyebrows. So that's pretty much what I was going for here. I'm using Tarte's kind of like their dip brow. It's like a mousse. It's kind of like Anastasia, and if you use Anastasia, that's fine. I am going to set it with powder, and I tried to at this point, but it's too wet, and it just keeps dragging around. So after a few attempts, I give up and continue with the rest of my makeup. So since the primer has dried, I set it with a little bit of powder. Then I go in with Stila's Smudge Stick eyeliner in the color Purple Tang, and I just drag that out across my eyelids, set it with a bit of matte black eyeshadow, and then I use a little bit more of that eyeliner, and then I go in with Kat Von D's Poetica palette in the shade Wonderland, and fill that up, kind of soften it out, smoke it out, and then I go in with Kat Von D's Babe from the same palette and smoke out the top, so it really kind of fades out. Then I go into the same matte black, it's actually the Full Exposure matte number 7, and just buff it up around the bottom lash line. And then I go back in with the Stila liner and do my waterline, the top and the bottom. Alrighty, so then I white out my lips with some concealer, set it, and I go in with NYX's Retractable lip liner in the Red Rouge color. And the reason why I use this is because it came out a bit pink on the camera there. And I use a bit of Lorac lip gloss, and then a bit of a highlight from the Full Exposure palette, S4. And I also used I use a Sephora eyeshadow as a highlight. It's called Aspen Summit number 23. I applied it on the lips, but I also applied it below my brows as a highlight. At this point I'm just using a purple shadow from NYX's Smokey palette and just kind of rounding out my lips a little bit. Alright, the only thing you don't see in the after photo is the mascara. I pretty much used the primer, Lash primer, and Benefit There Real Mascara. So here's before Photoshop, and then I decided to add the pink hair, change the lighting a bit, and add the contacts. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching.